Hey folks, Sandamtod here, back again. Gonna do this Q&A. I'm sure you're probably like, it's about time, asshole. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry, it's taken a while, but we're gonna jump right into it. I got my Q&A hat on, and we're gonna roll here. First question, Time Team 82, thanks for watching, buddy. Ask a question. How do you get such a cool beard? I grow mine out, but it always gets out of shape. I don't know. I let it go. I don't even really trim it. I just wash it with shampoo and let it go. I've always had a nice full coverage as far as the beard goes. I know some guys get patchy spots and stuff. I know my ex-roommate, he had a real patchy beard and he kind of hated it, but I just kind of let it go, man. I don't really shape it or anything like that. So we'll see what happens to it in the future. I've been just kind of letting it go. So anyway, thanks for the question, buddy. Brandon D asks, thanks for watching, man. Let's see, what are some of your favorite gaming hobbies outside of gaming, or some of your favorite hobbies outside of gaming, and your favorite TV shows to watch? Favorite hobbies outside of gaming, collecting is my main hobby outside of gaming. I'll go a week or so without playing a game, but I'll buy 5 or 6. So it's just one of those weird things where that's my main hobby. I like to collect things, as we've discussed. Laser discs, action figures, comic books, posters, anything over the years. I even had a stamp collection when I was a kid. It's just one of those things. So, TV shows. There's 2 TV shows I'm following right now. One, of course, is The Walking Dead. It's just an awesome TV show. I've been reading the comic for a while now. I had never really read the comic, and then got turned on to it because I heard they were going to be doing a television show, and decided to read it. So I got caught up online with the comic, and then I started watching the show, and I really like how they're taking the show in a different direction than the book, and it's not solely just following the book, and some people don't like that, and some people do. I prefer it because then you don't know what's going to happen or who's going to, be around in the future. There are some sacred cows, so to speak. You really feel like Rick's not going to die. I mean, that's kind of the way it is in the book. You just feel like Rick is the main guy. He's not going to die. It's just the way it is. The only other person that I think might have the ability to hang in there, or that they won't kill anytime soon, is Daryl, because he just kind of became a fan favorite of a lot of the people that watch the show. Anybody else, I'm not sure that anybody has a pass. I'm talking Glenn, Maggie, Herschel, even Carl, or the baby, Judith, any of those. He just recently, spoilers, told Carol she had to leave because she had killed a couple of people that were sick before they actually died of the sickness, to try to head it off. And Tyrese got really upset. I think Tyrese could go. I mean, I don't think any of these characters are safe, except for maybe Rick, and at least for the time being, Daryl. So, and then the other show I'm watching is the new show that ABC started with Marvel, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you're really into the comic book Avengers initiative kind of phase, they call it these phases, basically the Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, Avengers movies. This fits right in there, and it kind of overlaps. It doesn't really give you anything, at least I think next week's show is supposed to overlap with the Thor movie slightly. I don't know for sure, that's just something I heard. It's a really cool show, though. It's definitely has the feel of the movies. It's not overly serious or dramatic, and it's not overly comic booky either. So I recommend Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. if you're not watching it. Next one, Mr. Death Smiles. Thanks for watching, buddy. His question is, would you ever think about giving up your gaming hobby? And what's the one thing that would make you do it? I would be able to give up my gaming hobby easier than collecting. I could easily collect games and never start the system up. But as far as that goes, it would have to be a thing where, I needed money to help out a family member that had medical problems, or maybe, let's say, the Grim Reaper shows up and says, hey, I'm going to take someone in your family unless you give up gaming. Then I'd be like, all right. But I don't really know. I'd like to say I'm a good guy and would go, could give up gaming so I could go dedicate more time to helping, the less fortunate or the homeless or something like that. But I'm just too self-centered, I guess. I have enough trouble taking care of myself. I don't want to be trying to take care of other people too. So anyway, next person, Max Mardi just throws out a congrats. Thanks, Rob. Sega of my house. His question: will you ever break out the guitar and be a rock and roll god again? Back in the day, I pulled out the guitar. Every night I would play it, and for a couple hours, and since I moved in with my mother and then she had health problems and stuff, I have not really played the guitar. I pulled it out one time and kind of played a little bit. I think it was a really, really short video here on YouTube, and then I actually posted some video footage from a VHS that I found of me playing the guitar probably 12 years ago and 100 pounds ago. I don't know. I've thought about setting my stack up and maybe playing again and stuff, but the funny thing is anything I would probably play would probably be copyrighted, so who knows what in the hell would happen. So I don't know if I should bust it out. I'd probably more likely you'd be seeing me being a Guitar Hero rock and roll god. I thought about doing a Guitar Hero video a little while back and never did. So I don't know. Every now and again I think about it. I would really like to pick up an acoustic because I really love all kinds of music, and the guitar is one of the most diverse instruments I think out there. As far as there's so many different styles that you can play and or master, or just play different styles. You don't have to be pigeonholed into any one style with that instrument, and it's a great deal. So Late Night Gamer KC, thanks for watching. Throws out a comment. He wants to know if that Undead Nightmare that I got resurfaced worked after I got it resurfaced. To tell you the truth, it still wouldn't boot up. I don't know why. It would go to the title screen and it would go to load and it would say loading, 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 and it wouldn't boot up. It looks brand new, so I don't know, after they resurfaced it, so I don't know what's wrong with it exactly. But I did play it. It did work at one time, so whatever, and since I've owned it, so whatever happened to it happened under my watch, so I don't know. I'm thinking about just getting a Game of the Year, Red Dead Redemption with Undead Nightmare on it. It might end up being a greatest hits or something, but who knows. So anyway, thanks, buddy, and I still remember you gave me that Prince of Persia game, and that was awesome. So I still have it. It's actually over with my other PlayStation games over here. Let me see. Retro Sofer's next. He wants to know, is there any game series that you used to like but you don't really like anymore? I don't know about like. I mean, what it is there are game series that I used to really love that I don't play anymore because they just don't interest me like they did before. And mainly those are RPG games like the Dragon Quest series or Dragon Warrior back in the day on the Nintendo, or the Final Fantasy series. When I was younger, excuse me, I got like the hiccups. When I was younger, I liked those games because they were longer and kind of expanded your gameplay experience. It wasn't so limited. But now with the size of games, and the RPGs have just blown up into these like 40, 50-hour epics. I just can't be bothered to play RPG titles. I mean, I'll buy them all day long. I mean, I bought Skyrim, and stuff, and I just never play it. It's just one of those things. But I guess that would kind of be my answer. It's not really that I don't like this series anymore. I still have nostalgia for them. It's just I don't know that I would play them anymore. Top 5 bands of all time. Ooh. I think we've kind of hit on this a couple of times. Right now, lately, I've been listening to a lot of Volbeat. I found this live Volbeat CD at the thrift shop for 35 cents, and I stuck it in my CD player, and it's pretty much been on repeat in my car. But all time, I gotta throw probably. Not so much that I've been listening to them much anymore, but Metallica was always one of my favorites, especially when I was a teenager and into my 20s. After the Load album, I kind of lost interest in them, but all time, I got to put them on there. Soundgarden has always been one of my favorites. I think Chris Cornell's got one of the best, voices you could possibly have for rock music, and I remember seeing Soundgarden and Metallica at Lollapalooza in 1993. That was the year I graduated high school. I was 18. Maybe it was 90. No, it was 95. It wasn't 93 because Lollapalooza was the day before my 21st birthday. I remember that. So. I saw him out there. Saw Cornell do a live version of acoustic Black Hole Sun. Some of the songs that, Jesus Christ Post. Bad Motorfinger is probably one of my favorite albums, but as far as the whole album just being so solid and, like Room 1,000 Miles Wide, those songs just kick ass. Soundgarden, let's see, Pink Floyd, they have a lot of influence on my musical taste, especially Dark Side of the Moon or Wish You Were Here, those two albums especially, but The Wall, Division Bell, I love that music, and it's just one of those things that my mom used to listen to that music, and then I listened to it. My mom also listened to a lot of Led Zeppelin, Fleetwood Mac, things like that I've listened to, but I'm not putting Led Zeppelin, I don't know, they're kind of in a category to themselves. I don't really want to put them on my all-time favorite list for me, but I do love their music. So we've got Metallica, Soundgarden, Pink Floyd, Alice in Chains is probably my favorite band. I love that they're still doing music, but I miss Lane. Probably the self-titled album has slowly become my favorite over the last couple of years, but Dirt used to be my favorite album. Facelift, I remember listening to this AM station here in Kansas City called Z-Rock, and they played a lot of Alice in Chains, and they played every Saturday night they played what was it called, the Mighty Met, the Metallica. They really didn't play a lot of Metallica, but they would play like an hour straight of Metallica on Saturday nights, and I don't know. I just really remember listening to Z-Rock and stuff back when I fancied myself a skater, even though I never really learned to skate. But I did have a skateboard. Fifth band, I'm going to leave that slot open, I think, because all time isn't over for me. I don't know. I mean, like I said, my top three definitely, if I had to pick a top three, would be Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, and Metallica. We'll kind of lump Led Zeppelin on there, so we'll put Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd on there too. Pink Floyd definitely belongs on there. Led Zeppelin, I love their music, and then sometimes I I used to listen to it so much that I don't so much anymore. Let's see. Are there any games that you want that you've never managed to get? Not really. The only thing I can think of offhand is Nintendo, the 8-bit Nintendo re-released some games right before the Super Nintendo, kind of toward the end of the lifespan, where they were calling them NES Classic Series or something. And they released Zelda and Zelda 2 on gray cartridges, and they released Punch-Out as Punch-Out, and they also released Metroid in a yellow box with a yellow label. That's one game that I would really like, is to find a complete in box classics Metroid with the yellow label in the box. Actually, it looks like this here. That's the art from the box right there. So anyway, let's see. And then he asks, MP3s or discs? I tell you the truth, I like the discs for the collecting and the displaying of them, but for the ease of just listening to music and stuff, I gotta go MP3s. Same thing with vinyl. I mean, I love vinyl. My mom had quite a few vinyl records. I still have some here of hers, but I don't have a record player. I don't have a phonograph or anything, so... keep rolling here. Last Seen Gaming says, congrats. Hey, buddy. Thank you. Jirion79's got a few questions here. I think that's how you say your name, buddy. I'm not sure. Thanks for the congrats. Which is your favorite game system of all time, and which is your worst? I just answered this question about my least favorite over on Married with Games channel, and he was saying that the Sega CD was his worst, and he cites a lot of the reasons why a lot of people don't care for it. The overabundance of FMV games or ports, and how the FMV games don't really have a lot of replayability, and they're really grainy, and they kind of pause and stuff, and all that stuff to me adds charm to the system. But I understand the people that say they can't stand that stuff or think it's just a waste of time. Mine personally is the Nintendo 64. I think I did a video on this about a year ago about least favorite system, and we discussed it. And the Nintendo 64, I thought was trying to keep pace with their younger demographic. They released a lot of games, a lot of franchise titles, a lot of cartoony looking games, and there's nothing wrong with releasing franchise titles, but I just felt like they didn't really care to explore having enough third-party support for that system. Everybody's always like, oh, they released Resident Evil 2. Yeah, but they didn't release any other Resident Evil games or any other, really, I don't know. I just felt like they really didn't cater to the 20-something market. I thought they should have built the memory into it instead of having the memory expansion that you had to buy separately. Never liked the controller. Don't know if I already said that or not, but I just think that controller style sucked. And I don't know. I just never really got into it, never really cared for it. And that's my least favorite. Most favorite, I'm going to do a two-way tie between my 8-bit NES collection. I just have so much nostalgia for it, and so many of those games. It's probably the system I've beaten the most games on over time, maybe the Genesis and the 8-bit NES. As I get older, the more systems I get and the more games I've amassed, the less I've beaten. And the other system that's going to tie with that for me is the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 was such a jump, graphically, just everything from the PS1, and I held on and stuck with the PS2 a couple of years into the life cycle of this gen systems, which are now becoming last gen systems because they're releasing the new systems this holiday season. But I have more PS2 games except for the NES system, than any other system. I have the most games for the PS2, and I got to give it to the PS2 for the different series that I've loved and played. The Soul Reaver Legacy of Kain series, the Prince of Persia series, the Resident Evil games that got put out on that system, the Champions of Norrath game, the Evil Dead games. I mean, I know a lot of them, after the Xbox got its legs, started getting put on both systems. So, you know, but really those two tie together for me. Are there any games or systems that you really want but you don't have that you would like to get someday? The only system that I think I might dabble at, and that is if it was really cheap, would be an Atari Jaguar. I know the controller's kind of bulky and stuff, but the funky shape of the cartridges and stuff I think is kind of cool. And I don't know about that huge controller. I would probably be fairly selective in what I bought for it, and that's why I would want to get it fairly cheap. The only other system I might want to pick up, and I don't really have a burning desire for it, is the Intellivision. And it's mainly because I've picked up about 8 to 10 Intellivision games that I'm holding on to, and I have that voice synthesizer module thing for it as well. He wants to know what my favorite arcade cabinet is. My favorite arcade cabinet of all time is Ye Are Kung Fu. A lot of people love, different games like Donkey Kong or Galaga or Joust or, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, things like that. A lot of guys love fighting game cabinets like Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, that kind of thing. I could have picked up a Tekken cabinet at the pawn shop. They had one for $175 for Tekken 3, but the plastic around the controllers and joysticks was kind of broken, and I think some of the art looked like it had been maybe had something spilled on it or something, and I didn't want to have, I don't know that much about arcade machines to want to put a lot of effort or time into it, and I think if it crapped out, I wouldn't know what to do with it. So I've just never been a big arcade dude. I still, I could have bought a Ye Are Kung Fu cabinet a few years back. I would have had to go to a town probably about 2 hours away called Columbia, Missouri, to pick it up, but a guy had one for sale. I believe it was around $300 or $350. It looked really nice. The display lit up at the top and everything. But I would have had to have taken somebody with me, and from what I remember, the weather was pretty crappy at that time of the year, and I just didn't manage to get around to contacting the guy because I was going to wait for the weather to get better and stuff, and I think somebody finally bought it before I was able to get a hold of the guy. So I would love to have a pinball machine. I know Crow recently has sold off some of his video gaming systems to pick up pinball machines, and I've really enjoyed watching his Star Trek pinball machine come together, and him playing on it and stuff. And I would like to have a pinball machine. I don't really have any affinity for any certain machine. If I could pick one up fairly cheap, that would probably be it. It really doesn't need to be anything spectacular. Just something that you could goof around with your friends or whatever. Do I have an idea for a video I've always wanted to make, but for some reason I've never done it? There's been some times I've thought about doing some cooking videos that I've never really done, making chili or something like that. There's been some videos. I was going to do a series at one point where my beta fish was going to review games. I thought about doing ones with the cats, maybe playing games and reviewing the games with me, but I always thought those sounded kind of a little hokey. I thought about doing previews at one point for upcoming videos, but that was more when I thought I was going to do more like a show instead of a vlog, and that was early on, and I decided I wasn't going to do that. but probably the cooking, maybe some cooking videos or something. Do you have any plans for the future? Future on YouTube is kind of up to YouTube, based on this copyright thing, and you know, the changes they keep making. But as far as my future, I'm kind of like a leaf blowing in the wind. I kind of just, I've never really had much purpose. I mean, I some people, you know, they'll have like a certain thing in mind, and they're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to become a NASCAR race car mechanic, or I'm going to become a doctor, or I'm going to become a movie star or something. And they actually follow through, and for some force of will, they're able to make this stuff happen for them. And I've just never found anything that has been such a passion that I thought, that's what I want to do, and that's where my life's going. And so I tend to get comfortable, and I'm kind of introverted and don't like a lot of change in my life. And a lot of times when I think about the future, it's day to day. It's not, what am I going to do in 3 years? Who knows? What's going to happen in 3 years? You know, who knows? So anyway, that's kind of my answer for that one. So anyway, let's see. We got to switch pages. I got to move on to the next set of questions. 8-Bit Goomba Anthony asked some questions. Thanks for watching, buddy. Do you think any company will have the balls to invest in trying to market a cart-based system again, or do you think that's a complete idea of the past? Anthony, it's an idea of the past. It's not about really having the balls. I think it's about just the financial implications of carts versus media, you know, especially with the Blu-ray players and stuff now. You know, they would have to pack so many circuits and so many things into a cart-based game that, you know, you'd probably end up paying like $200 a game for cartridge games nowadays, and it just wouldn't be cost-effective. My more to the point question is, does anybody have the balls to enter a video game market right now where there's basically 3 top dogs? There's Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo to a lesser degree with this Wii U thing. I don't think anybody would have the balls to enter the market. Maybe when gaming goes from less of a hard media outlet to more of a downloading and cloud-based media or whatever, and you know it's going to happen, that maybe systems might become more viable and people might be able to put out their own systems to play those games or whatever. The next one is, have you ever even slightly thought about becoming a reverse vampire? What's a reverse vampire? They can never go in the dark, and they don't eat blood, so what do they eat? I don't know. You can only eat garlic, you know? I don't know. I like your question, but I just don't understand all the facets of it. And it says, 3, what would happen, or what the hell has happened to my question asking ability? I was just thinking that, buddy. What the hell kind of question was that last question? It says, are you happy I stopped at number 3? Hey, yeah. No. You could ask as many questions as you wanted. I would just bullshit my way through them. Next question is from Vapor99. Thanks for watching, buddy. I know you watch on a pretty regular basis. The best thrift shop pickup ever. My best thrift shop pickup ever is probably not even a video game thing. It's probably that Laserdisc with the Forbin Project on it that's worth like $100 and something that I got for $3. But as far as like video game pickup at the thrift store, I don't know. I know I got Shadows of the Empire in box complete for like $7 or $8. I've got a, you know, I don't know. As far as best, I'm trying to think. I don't know. That would probably be my best thrift shop pickup, and it's not gaming related. Is that whatchamahoo? Laserdisc. Snapcraft 316. Snap, crack, crackle, pop. Thanks for watching, buddy. You've been through many tough times during your YouTube tenure. That is true. I kind of share everything on here. I've had, different things happen, but things happen to everybody. I think your honesty and down-to-earthiness brought in a lot of subs. Question. When was the last time, and would you ever completely shave the beard? Oh, it's been a long time, man. I was probably 22 or 3. I was working as a manager at a Carl's Jr. or a Hardee's fast food establishment, and at that time you couldn't have facial hair, which is weird because nowadays it seems like they allow it, but back then they didn't allow it. So I didn't have a beard, and when I switched to my job that I'm still working at nowadays as a graphic designer for a print company, I grew a goatee, and after growing the goatee, I basically had some form of facial hair since I've been 23, so 15 years. I had a goatee for a while, then I had the full goatee with the mustache, then I grew out my sideburns, so I had sideburns, the goatee with the mustache, and then I shaved the mustache, so I just had some sideburns and the goatee, and then I shaved the sideburns to where it was just the goatee, and then I had it that way for a long time, and then I don't know, about 4 or 5 years ago, I got the hankering to grow in the Amish Abraham Lincolnish style beard that you see now, and then I've just kind of been letting this go here in the front for about a year. I have nothing against shaving it off. Fat guys like to have a beard because it kind of covers up that double chin a little bit. But, it would make me look younger. I do have some gray in it and stuff, so it's just one of those things that, if I wanted to look younger or something, I would shave it off. The last time, like I said, was probably like 15 years ago, and, would I? Yeah, I have nothing against shaving it off, if there was a reason, or sometimes sometimes you just get the hankering to take a razor to it, but I've had it so long that I just don't really think about it, so, anyway, thanks for watching, buddy, and the question, Married with Games, I mentioned him just a little bit ago on Sega CD, thanks for watching, man. He wants to know, what's your take on Capcom focusing on DLC to bail them out? I don't know. I don't understand their business model lately. It just seems like, I don't know. Really, I would hate to see Capcom go under or something, but they're struggling, and I don't know. If DLC can bail them out, I hope it does, because I really would hate to see them go under, but, it's just one of those things, when you screw with your customer base and change the games. I mean, just take the Resident Evil series that's changed, where it doesn't even feel like Resident Evil anymore, and it's just, why, I don't know whether I don't know. I just hate when companies start looking at other things and trending. Instead of being original, they start trending toward doing things that other people are doing, and it just waters down the product, and I don't like that, but, we'll see. We'll see what happens to them. What are my thoughts on GTA 5 selling $1 billion in sales in 3 days? That kicks ass. I mean, a lot of people love GTA. I have been a supporter of GTA. I've never beaten a Grand Theft Auto game. My buddy at work is actually playing Grand Theft Auto 5 right now, and he says it is a really awesome game. There's basically 3 characters. You're kind of bouncing back and forth and playing 3 different storylines at once kind of deal, and that he's really enjoying it. I don't buy anything release day. And I think the last thing I bought and paid full price for was Skyrim, and I don't know why I did that. But, certain games people are just go crazy for, and Grand Theft Auto is one of those series that's seemed to always delivered over the years for people. And my favorite's Vice City. It always has been. And favorite retro game of all time, he wants to know. That's his next question. Favorite retro game of all time? It's hard to say. I hate when I only get one. If I had to say one, I would say Super Metroid. But I'm going to throw out 3 or 4. Link to the Past, as well as Shining Force, the original Shining Force game on the Genesis. And when I played Phantasy Star 4, it was pretty awesome. But really, those 3, the top 3 would have to be Link to the Past, or Super Metroid, followed by Link to the Past and Shining Force for me, as far as favorite retro games. And then it says favorite retro console. I think I discussed that a little bit with the PS2 and the NES and why they're tied. If anything, the NES nudges the PlayStation 2, and it's just for the nostalgia factor. And I've told the story a few times of how my cousin brought his NES down, and I'd never even heard of an NES, and I stayed up all night playing it, and they all passed out, and how he had, these 4 or 5 games. I always remember 4 of them and can never, but something makes me think he had 5 games. And he had Super Mario Brothers, Commando, Pro Wrestling, and Rygar. And something makes me think he had a 5th title, and it might have been Ghosts and Goblins, but I really don't remember. And it caught my imagination to where I did anything I could to save up the money to buy the system. My mother wouldn't buy something like that for me for a holiday or gift. She didn't mind if I had something like that, but she thought it was a waste of money. And they were expensive. I didn't know, cost of living. They tell you now, that set with the robot that went for $249 back then would sell for like $600 nowadays or whatever. And it's just one of those things that I didn't think about, that kind of cost, I guess, back in the day or whatever. So for nostalgia reasons, the NES and playing those games, and Rygar and Kid Icarus and Metroid and Super Mario Brothers 2, primarily Super Mario Brothers 2 is my favorite of the Marios. There were some other games like Ultimate Exodus and Dragon Warrior and stuff that I really loved as well. But those games and stuff have really stuck with me over the years. So that kind of answers that. Big Bear 2G19, hey buddy, congrats, thank you sir. Questions: as a kid, what movie did you watch over and over and over again? Empire Strikes Back. I watched Empire Strikes Back. I had a taped off the TV copy of it that I watched over and over and over. There were some other movies that I watched quite a bit. As an adult, I know I've seen certain movies over and over again, like Big Lebowski, Pulp Fiction, Office Space, Evil Dead 2. But as a kid, it would probably be Empire Strikes Back. And maybe the movie with Christian Slater in it called Gleaming the Cube. I watched that a shitload of times as well. What's your favorite TV show that is currently airing on TV right now? We discussed this. Walking Dead is probably the one that is my favorite right now, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kicks a lot of ass, so it's right up there. And then the third question he's got is, what is your favorite type of food, favorite place to eat out? Okay. Favorite type of food, I love Mexican food. The variety of the different types of food when you eat Mexican food and stuff just really I love it all. I mean, there's hardly anything you could throw at me off a Mexican menu that I wouldn't devour. There's a nice little Mexican restaurant, mom and pop, right up the street called El Volcan. They've got a nice menu that's reasonably priced, and their stuff tastes authentic. It's ran by a Mexican family, and I love going there. There's another Mexican restaurant here called LMAO, which is really good, and I'm trying to think of there's another one up here. There's another one up here that my mom and I went to a few times. I can't think of the name of it. That's really good as well. And favorite place to eat out? I don't know. I eat out a lot at McDonald's and stuff on the fly or during lunches because it's cheap. I don't know if it's my favorite place to eat out. I like to go to like an Olive Garden and sit down and eat some Italian food or whatever. I don't go out a lot to eat and sit down somewhere because I'm usually by myself. But I'll get a carry out or something. I usually will go up and I'll call in an order and go up and get it from the Mexican place or whatever. But that kind of answers it. I mean, if it was like I don't know about a chain or whatever, I do like Taco Bell and things like that, but Taco Bell's not really authentic. It's Americanized Mexican food, so. We'll roll to the next question. Thanks, Big Bear 2G19. Comeback Kid, since you see yourself more as a collector than a gamer, yes, I do. Do you think you could ever get into collecting anything else that interests you, the Laserdisc, movies, toys, and still get the same satisfaction? It really depends. I can collect almost anything if I feel a drive to do it. Like, if somebody said, hey, you want to collect bottle caps or you want to collect, it's not really about what they cost, it's about just getting a diverse collection. I know bottle caps is just an example. Coins, stamps. I collected stamps at one point when I was young, like 12, 13. I'm trying to think about stuff, DVDs and stuff, music, a lot of media. It was just like figurines or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that I would collect that's just like figurines. Collecting anything else that interests you. And as far as the movies, toys, and Laserdisc, I always get satisfaction when I buy those things and find them, and I'm like, wow, I didn't have this. I get that same thrill when I discover something like that as when I find a cool video game. When I found the 3 Laserdiscs for the widescreen Star Wars, that was a cool day for me. When I found, I'm trying to think. I guess this machine up here, I forgot about this. I got this at a thrift store, that Zaxxon machine up there on the shelf. The Frogger machine I've had since I was a kid. It's my oldest video game, but that Zaxxon machine I got at the thrift store, and I got a thrill finding that thing. So I guess Vapor 99, that was another one of my best pickups from the thrift store, along with that Laserdisc. But I get the same kind of rush sometimes just finding that stuff, even though it's not video game related. Business 17, great YouTuber, always has lots of content, really knows his stuff as far as collecting, and really knowing how to get out there and find the stuff, him and his buddies. And he throws out a congrats. I really appreciate it, buddy. His question is, what bands have I seen live in concert? Cool. That's a cool question. Live in concert, I've seen Metallica 3 or 4 times, opening for them, Corrosion of Conformity. I'm trying to think of who else. I think I went and saw. I've been to a lot of festivals where I've seen a lot of bands. Like I've seen I've seen Rollins' band, Henry Rollins. I've seen what's his face? Sammy Hagar. I've seen Nickelback. Not Oasis. It depends. I've seen a lot of festivals where you see like multiple bands in a day. I've seen Alice in Chains. Well, actually, it wasn't Alice in Chains because Elaine Staley wasn't with them. It was Jerry Cantrell opened for Metallica one time, but they played a lot of Alice in Chains stuff, so it was kind of like seeing Alice in Chains. Let me see. I went and saw. Let me see. Well, I saw the Ramones at that Lollapalooza as well. I've seen, like I said, quite a few festivals. I've seen guys like Buddy Guy and some other blues musicians live. I went and saw Korn. I'm trying to remember who was with them one time. Those bagpipes were awesome when they kick in. They start playing like Chutes and Ladders and stuff. That's about it. I mean, I'm not a huge concert guy. I did in my 20s go to a few. I was big, like I said, into Metallica and stuff at that point. And Soundgarden had kind of broken up. So they weren't really touring and stuff. So it seemed like I went to a lot of Metallica shows and whatever bands opened for them at the time. Let's see here. That kind of answers that, buddy. I haven't been to a lot of shows, more festival type things, and I'm trying to think of. I think I saw Local H. It might have been the White Stripes. I saw as well. Trying to think. Just so many bands at these festivals. I saw Volbeat at a festival here that they do in Kansas City called Rockfest. I saw Damage playing. I also saw Drowning Pool at those festivals. I've seen Tesla. I mean, I know, and it's hard to think when you see like 6 bands in a day, you know, or 12 bands in a day to try to remember how many you've seen. But the solo bands and stuff that really were, you know, coming in concert that I bought tickets specifically for a specific band, Korn, Metallica, I know for a fact. Let's see. A guy here, Bentley Mines, asks, do you have a PSP? No, I don't. I'm not a big handheld dude. Thanks for watching, by the way. I'm not a big handheld guy. I don't know. I've just never really been able to get into handhelds. Let me see here if I'm still on the right track. I made screenshots of the question, so I'm trying to, okay. Richard J., thanks for watching, man. Hey, Adam, I've had a ton of those throwaway YouTube accounts over the years and channels. You're always one I come back to. I really respect your ability to confidently speak your mind. Thanks, sir. Anyway, here's my question. What's the biggest difficulty you have faced in regards to your channel or game collecting in general? I've never really had a lot of hurdles as far as my channel goes. Yeah, I've gotten content ID matched a few times. I've never had anything strike, knock wood, considering what we're heading into here. As far as my channel in general, I've never been overly trolled. Yeah, I get some guys that come on and like, hey, you're fat, dude, or why don't you get some exercise? You know, or I've had people say, oh, he looks like a real winner or something. So a lot of times I just let that stuff slide. Sometimes I will get in a rare mood and want to comment back. It used to really bother me if somebody would come on and say something like, you live with your parents or something, because they didn't understand my situation. They didn't know that my mom was living with me me, and that I was paying the bills so she would have a place to stay, and that she had health problems. They assumed I was living off my parents, and they didn't know anything about me. That's when I get irritated and want to shoot back at people. But I'm a pretty easygoing guy, so I try not to let a lot of that stuff kind of get on me, get me down. Difficulty as far as collecting, it just seems like everything that 3 or 4 years ago used to come so easily has just really been ramped up. It's like everybody realized there's a secondary market out there for video game stuff. Everybody started marking their stuff up like crazy. Things that you could have picked up for a decent price are now outrageous. Some things that were a little more expensive have dropped in price, though. But I'm starting to get so selective that I'm just not buying as much. That's one kind of plus and minus, because I have gotten quite a bit of stuff. I don't, I'm more selective, but at the same time, when collecting's involved, it's just one of those things where when you do it for a period of time and then you have amassed so much stuff, you can't find stuff that you don't already have, and that kind of sucks. But on the whole, that's just what you deal with. It's kind of a plus and a minus. So thanks for watching. Brendan B, I know I have him in one of my circles on my my Google Plus thing. Hey buddy, let's see here what you have. What's the hardest game you have played through until completion? Ninja Gaiden on the 8-bit Nintendo. That game is horrible. There's no way to beat it in one run on the last level. There's 3 forms of the final boss. I've heard games like Dracula's Curse, Castlevania 3 are like ridiculously impossible. But I've never really... I love Castlevania games, but aside from Simon's Quest, I've never really beaten any of them. But what you have to do on Ninja Gaiden 1, and I never beat 2 or 3, is you have to play through, and I think on 6.2 or 6.3, you pick up the jump slash, the kind of crazy whirlwind thing. You have to hold on to that till the end, which means you can't die till you get to the end boss. You can hold down when you jump to keep from doing the jump slash. If you have to stab while you're in the air, you press down while you're jumping. It kind of sucks, but it's something that you're going to have to do because you need to conserve your ability to use it. I forget, you pick up these little Chinese symbols or whatever, or Japanese, and you get there, and you basically just got to run over and jump slash through the dude, and it'll take down about 2/3 of his lifeline. I think you got to hit the crystal that's on the wall the first time through. You hit it twice with the jump slash, and it'll kill it. And then it goes into a cutscene. The problem is, when you enter the room, it doesn't fill your life, and after the cutscene, it doesn't fill your life. So, if it's possible, and you still have the jump slash and some of the ability to use it, that you could get over there and maybe do it again. I always end up dying. I mean, you basically have to attack the guy and do the same jump slash move. Hitting him one hit. You're not going to beat him in time. You're going to run out of energy. The problem is, when you die on the boss, you get sent all the way back to 6-1, and you got to play through it all again. You got to pick up the jump slash thing again. You got to conserve your stuff all the way to the end, and then hit him with the jump slash again, and then there's a third wave, and basically you just got to play through that end level like 2 or 3 times. I'm saying 3 times for the 3 stages of the boss, and use that jump slash thing each time in order to beat him. And it makes the game longer. It pisses you off because you got to play through that final level, 4 stages of level 6 of 3 times. But what are you going to do? But that's the hardest game I've ever played. He says Dark Souls would be his, and I understand I understand that. He says, look forward to hear your story ramble about the hardest game you've ever finished. Well, you just heard it, man. I'm not sure how to say your name, buddy. I've got GDUHATE. GDU hate. G to hate, maybe. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. What systems do you not have that you wish you did? We kind of discussed that. The Jaguar, maybe. And the Intellivision, maybe. And I do like those little, the little ones up there, the Coleco machines, like the Frogger and stuff. I've never ran across any of them out in the wild other than that Zaxxon. And I remember my cousin used to have a Pac-Man one, and another one of my cousins had a Donkey Kong one. And neither one of them still have theirs, but I still have my Frogger. Let's see. Your gaming collection, you must get your hands on before you kick the bucket. What games have eluded you in your collecting that I must get my hands on? We kind of discussed this. The Metroid in the yellow box. I don't know. After I got Snatcher, a lot of people love Earthbound. I don't really care whether or not I get Earthbound. So there's not too many, really. There's just, like, I'm trying to think if there's, like, a PlayStation 2. There's a couple of obscure PlayStation 2 titles, like Ico and Haunting Ground and stuff that I would really like to get that are a little pricey or a little more hard to find. But, you know, I would like to have those before I kick the bucket because I'd like to be able to maybe give them a play. What is your favorite game for each retro console? Okay. We'll sit down and think about this. Atari, we'll start with the 2600. Atari, my favorite game for the Atari 2600 is probably Asteroids. I love Asteroids, and I used to play it for hours as a kid. The not Super Nintendo, the Sega Master System, my favorite game for the Master System would probably be Phantasy Star 1. It's just, even though I'm not really an RPG guy, it's the one game that I always wanted for that system, and I do have a copy. I don't have the directions, but I have a copy of it. The Nintendo, boy, favorite game. I'm going to have to cheat. I'm going to pick like 3. Kid Icarus, Metroid, and Rygar are 3 that I can play any day of the week and have a smile on my face while I'm playing them. They're my favorites for the 8-bit Nintendo. Sega Genesis, it would probably be Shining Force or Mortal Kombat 1, because that was the first time I'd ever seen a game like that. Tell you the truth, I was kind of out of the arcade scene, and I hadn't really played a lot of Mortal Kombat, and it was just one of those games that everybody was talking about in magazines and stuff, and I picked it up without really knowing a whole lot about it, and it kind of wowed me. But as far as like having a more than just like a fighting game experience, it would be Shining Force. Sega CD, my favorite game for the Sega CD is probably, I don't know, because I played a shitload of it, Dune, but I don't know if I could get back into it. I don't know. I love a lot of the FMV titles and stuff. Sonic CD is really great. Shining Force CD is also really great. I don't know. Probably Dune. And let's see, 32X, I can't really say because I only have 2 games for my 32X, and that's like motocross and like Monster Fighters or something like that. I don't really know. So, my favorite game on my 3DO is probably Sewer Shark. Let me think. Sega Saturn. I've got Tempest 2000 and Nights into Dreams. Both of those games are pretty kick-ass. Probably my favorites. Let me think. Sega Dreamcast. My favorite game on the Sega Dreamcast, you'll probably laugh, is Seaman. I have played Seaman all the way through. A lot of the other games I've kind of touched on, but I've never really given a lot of play to them. Not a lot, but some of the game titles I played through on the PlayStation, so I haven't revisited them on the Dreamcast, even though I rebought them, like Soul Reaver, the Resident Evil games, Resident Evil 2 and 3, and some other games like that. Let me think. That's a Dreamcast. So Nintendo 64. I know I said it's my least favorite system. If I had to pick a favorite game on it, it would probably be Diddy Kong Racing. I did play through Ocarina of Time and beat it, and it's the only game I really beat on that system, but it's too long and too involved for me to say it's probably would be my favorite to play through again, but I can play Diddy Kong Racing any day of the week. Nintendo Wii, never had one. PlayStation 2, my favorite game is probably either Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver Defiance, or Champions of Norath. The Xbox, my favorite game is probably KOTOR. Knights of the Old Republic, even though I haven't beat it, it's probably my favorite game that I played on there. GameCube. I haven't really given it a lot of play, but one of my favorite games, I like picking up exclusives, so one of my favorite games that I picked up that's an exclusive on the GameCube, or at least it was at the time, was Ikaruga. So Ikaruga is probably my favorite game on the GameCube. PS3, I have quite a few games. My favorite to play as of so far on it has been probably God of War 3. Let me think. Xbox 360, my favorite game. I don't know. It's hard for me. I'm gonna say, because it really sticks out in my mind from recently, BioShock Infinite is probably my favorite game on the 360. I love the BioShock series, all three of the games, along with the Dead Space games on the 360. I'm trying to think. I haven't really ever given Mass Effect a fair shake, and I don't have a Wii U. So I think that about covers it as far as games. Ever been married or close to it? Not even close, man. Do you own or rent your home? I rent right now. I've thought about buying a home. I never have. It's not that I couldn't maybe afford it or anything. It's just one of those things I kind of said, it's kind of my nature. When I get comfortable, I kind of don't like change, and to buy a home and stuff, it's exciting in a way, but at the same time, it's a lot of responsibility and it's a lot of change, and it's just one of those things that I'm not sure. Let me think. Next guy, Death Adder 83. Congrats, thank you. Why do you only shave your mustache? I think I look cheesy with a mustache. Like I discussed about the beard thing a little bit ago in this video. It's just, I don't really care for the mustache. I think my lip's too thin, and I think it just looks kind of cheesy. The beard thing kind of came around from having a goatee and sideburns, and I was like, fuck it, we'll just join them one day. And it just kind of became that. Nacho cheese or Cool Ranch? I'm more of a Cool Ranch guy. If we're talking about Doritos, I like both. I'm definitely a name brand guy when it comes to certain things, and certain kinds of chips I am. I gotta have Dorito brand Doritos and Cheeto brand Cheetos. Potato chips I'm not as picky on. Also, macaroni and cheese. I'm kind of a Velveeta shells and cheese or Kraft macaroni and cheese kind of guy. I won't buy like off-brand. I did buy that freaking Larry the Cable Guy macaroni and cheese that one time. I didn't care for it. Let's put it that way. I took 2 bites of it and ended up throwing it away. It had like this weird bacon flavor, and it tasted like a fake bacon flavor to me that I didn't really like, so I kind of tossed it. Favorite fighting game excluding Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter? Tekken. I've always been a Tekken fan. Tekken 2 and 3 were my favorite Tekkens. Street Fighter is the one that kind of I always remember as being the first one I ever really played. Mortal Kombat, I never really, past Mortal Kombat 2, I lost interest. When 3 came out, it was too combo based and this run in and bam 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 kind of thing, and I didn't really dig it. I also really loved Killer Instinct, and it was all combo. But as far as like series, I would go Tekken for sure, and then I would put Tekken 2 and 3 and Killer Instinct as like my fighting games that I really like. And I'm talking the Killer Instinct, the arcade, not the gold that they made for the home version or whatever. Boy, I don't know how long this is going to take, folks. Let's see, Spundy08. Alright, Spundy, thanks for watching, man. I've always enjoyed your channel as well. Here's his question. You may have covered it. All gamers have those frustrating moments, but we usually have 1 or 2 that stand out. What is your most frustrating moments in gaming? I'm going to pull the hat off for a second. To tell you the truth, I get frustrated when you're playing like a straightforward game like a God of War or Dead Space or something, and then they'll throw in a driving level or throw in a shoot these asteroids or something. That just frustrates the crap out of me because I'm not good at shooting things, and I definitely don't like driving games, so driving levels piss me off quite a bit. I hate cheap bosses on games. That Star Wars game where that dude was just bam, 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 and I did that Star Wars pancake video. Those are frustrating to me. I don't know. Certain things will come up. If something frustrates me too much nowadays, I'll just move on to a different game. It doesn't get under my skin like it used to. And so a lot of times now, if something gets frustrating, I let it go. When I was a kid, I would play stuff over and over and get so pissed, I would I tossed my controller a few times. I did take pretty good care of it. I never would hit my machine or throw games or anything like that. I had a tendency to I would get so pissed I would punch my mattress, or something, because I was usually in my bedroom, or I would punch my own leg. I know this sounds weird, but I would just punch my own leg 2 or 3 times as hard as I could, out of frustration sometimes with games. It sounds really weird. I don't know why I used to punch myself in the leg, but I did. I haven't done it in years, but I know I've done it back in the day when I was a kid. I just don't let my frustrations get to me like that anymore. It's just not worth it. Sega CD Universe, Vampire Mike, go over and check out his channel. Great guy. He left a question for me here. Favorite FMV game? Favorite FMV game? Ooh. It depends. There's quite a few. I know I don't know all of them off the top of my head the way I should. I mean, there's games like Wing Commander 3, and there's games that have a lot of FMV in them. There's the Night Trap and Double Switch, Ground Zero Texas, Corpse Killer, Supreme Warrior. I always loved the idea behind Supreme Warrior. Prize Fighter. Some of these games like Mad Dog McCree, Who Shot Johnny Rock. There's some games that just have like cutscenes and stuff that don't have as much FMV. It's kind of like Sewer Shark is more about cutscenes and stuff. But I'm trying to think. Probably my favorite. My favorite's probably. I like Night Trap, but my favorite's probably Supreme Warrior, even though I was never very good at it. I did beat one of the three. I think the Wind boss. It is choreographed, and you do have to kind of play it enough times, but I remember beating one of the bosses. I never took that, because there was four different. There was the Wind, Fire, and Water bosses, I think, and then there was the end boss, and I never got even past the one, but not all of them. But Supreme Warrior, Corpse Killer, and I'm trying to think. I love Ground Zero Texas and Double Switch. Probably Supreme Warrior, and probably on the 3DO, just for the simple fact that it doesn't hesitate quite as badly on the 3DO, and the colors, there's a lot more color palette, so it doesn't look as pixelated, and it doesn't look as grainy. So that's my answer on that one. Favorite movie based on a game. Favorite movie based on a game would probably be Mortal Kombat. I do like the Resident Evil series of movies. They've kind of took on a life of their own. I don't know. I'm trying to think of some other games that have been turned into movies. The Silent Hill movie that came out, Blood Rain, was horrible. I have it on DVD. I think they did a DOA movie. I never watched it. I'm trying to think, but I know Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat movie, not Annihilation, is probably the one that I think is my favorite that was ever changed from a game into a movie. Favorite game based on a movie? That would be that Wolverine Origins game. I thought that game was a solid game. It wasn't just something they threw out for a movie to make a little extra dough. I thought they actually put some time in and really developed that game and made a solid game, not just something to come out in junction with the movie. Favorite horror game? I love the Fatal Frame series. I think they're really scary. There are some horror games that I don't have that I would like to get. Resident Evil 2 was really... actually, Nemesis, the third one, was probably more intense for me. I would probably say Fatal Frame 2 is my favorite horror game. And top 3 musicians. If we're talking musicians and not bands, my top 3 musicians would be Chris Cornell. I think like I said, he's really great. No matter what he does, I've always enjoyed it. Even though I kind of held a grudge against him when Soundgarden broke up. Musicians, I like musicians like Bob Dylan and stuff that don't. I'm not like a Springsteen guy, but I like Springsteen. But like Bob Dylan, I like some mellower stuff sometimes. It depends. I like Jack Johnson, okay. But I'm usually listening to heavier stuff. I get on a kick where I'll listen to like a bunch of Bob Dylan, or I'll listen to a bunch of, a certain person. But probably those guys, as far as musicians go, I like guys that just do a lot of instrumental stuff and things like that as well. But those guys are good. Dylan definitely pops in my head as far as being a musician. That Johnny Cash. I really love Johnny Cash as well. Even though it sounds like he's talking in most of his songs. Those guys like that. Thanks for watching Vampire Mike, and I always go and check out your channel as often as I can. Broken 1394, thanks for sticking around, buddy. Thanks for the congrats. He wants to know what TV shows I currently am watching and what your all-time favorites are. We kind of discussed what I'm already watching, so I'll just go with what some of my all-time favorites are. My all-time favorite shows that pop in my head, Lost, the complete series of Lost, is an awesome show. Fringe is another show that I really loved. When I was a kid, there were certain shows that I really loved, like A-Team and stuff, but I've bought some of those seasons now that I'm an adult, and I just, it's hard to watch some of them sometimes. But definitely Lost and Fringe I recommend. And it seems like anything that J.J. Abrams touches, it just seems like, did I just burp on camera? I don't know. It seems like anything Abrams touches is usually pretty solid. So, if you haven't watched Lost, some people don't get. Either you get into it and you're really into it, or you just don't get it or don't dig it. It's just one of those shows. So, and I liked X-Files, but I never followed it season for season all the way through. I kind of just watched episodes here and there. That's kind of... X-Files is another one. And Star Trek Next Generation. Used to watch a lot of Star Trek Next Generation. I watched some Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Voyager as well. Didn't really care for Deep Space Nine, but Voyager I watched for quite a while. But I definitely watched all of the Next Generation stuff. And I remember watching the series finale when it was ending live, when I was younger. And the Enterprise with the third engine on it, and Riker was the captain, and and Picard was having this kind of like memory deal where he was going from one reality to another reality, and each time he got to the next reality, he didn't really remember what the other one was, but he knew something was wrong. It was an awesome ending to that series. Snestastic Pete, always great, always a great YouTuber, great channel. Definitely has a great sub base and a lot of fans, and he's just a great overall guy, as well as just being a great member of the community. So definitely go over and check him out if you don't know Pete and Snestastic's channel. Thanks, Pete, for the congrats. What have you learned about yourself from making videos on YouTube? That I can get lazy sometimes, and if it takes too long, I don't want to do them. No, I learned that I can carry a conversation without talking to anybody. Makes me wonder if I talk to myself in my sleep or something. But I learned that I can be a little more outgoing, maybe, and not be so reserved. I know in the beginning when I was doing YouTube, I really tried to watch my language and everything. And, you know, I reached a point where it was just like, it felt more natural just to be myself. And if I cursed every now and again or whatever, that's just the way it is. And so I talk to you all now like I talk to in normal life. I don't overly curse. I don't, you know, but I'm real, you know, and that's just the way it is. He wants to know how I feel about Obamacare. Well, I feel like he's kind of joking, but I feel like they're making me get health insurance now, and it's going to be costing me an extra $100 a month to carry this health insurance, and it's $100 that I wish I could be spending on video game equipment instead. That's basically how I feel about it. What collecting aspirations do you have going forward? I'm just taking it day by day, Pete. I don't really know. Don't really have any aspirations. Like I said, now that I've got the game gun and got the Snatcher game, those are two things that I thought I would never own. So it's really just kind of all gravy, you know, after that. And then his final question is, are there any systems you don't currently own that you would like to pick up? We kind of discussed it, the Jaguar, just kind of because of the quirkiness of it, not really because I really want one. Price would have to be right. And television, because I do have a little bit of a collection going on, and I do have the synthesizer, and I think it would be kind of fun to play the Intellivision. But I don't really have a huge desire to pick up anything else other than maybe that. Let's see. Electric Adventures wishes me congrats. Thank you, buddy. I do appreciate any and all of you that come by on a regular basis and watch the channel. And it looks like you have a question here. What's the game you're constantly trying to beat your score in? I don't know. I don't usually. It seems like if I'm playing like handheld games, or not handhelds, but games that have a score. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what's a game that I'm always trying to better myself. Nowadays, with the trophies and stuff, it's more about trying to get the trophies, I guess. But you know, games like, you know, Ikaruga or Asteroids, things like that have score. I always try to outdo my last score, although a lot of times nowadays games, you know, with the flash memory and saving them and stuff, will keep your high scores, which is awesome. But back in the day, you didn't have anything to keep your high scores, so it was just one of those deals where you try to kind of remember, you know, what it was or whatever. And so I don't know. There are some games that I need to play still, so we'll see. Let me see. Soft Otaku asks a question. Thanks for watching, buddy. What's one game you have spent the most time total playing in your life? What game have I spent the most time playing in my life? That's kind of hard to say. I spent a shitload of time playing Diablo 2. Probably more than most games, just because I could kind of turn it on, play it, and then, you know, it really wasn't that hard to shut off and pick it back up at any point in time. As far as like console games, I know some of the bigger some of the games like Final Fantasy 3 and stuff that I played on Super Nintendo, I put 50, 60 hours into. But total time. That's one of those things that if there is a God in heaven and you got up there and there's somebody that has a big book of your life, I'd like to ask them, hey, what movie did I watch the most times in my life, and how many times did I watch it, or what game did I play the most? I really got to lean toward thinking. I played a lot of Ultimate Exodus. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'd have to say maybe Diablo 2. It just feels like the right answer. Because a lot of games I would put down and not, after I beat them and not play them. And Diablo 2 is one of those that I kept playing and playing and playing. Kid Icarus is one of those that I played over and over and over and over. Rygar, Metroid, we kind of discussed those. Those are some of my favorites as well, but also the fact that they are definitely games that I've played a lot. Nick Wolf has a question. Thanks for watching, buddy. What is your favorite handheld game system? My favorite handheld game system is probably the Game Boy Advance, even though I'm not a big handheld guy. Part of that is because of the Metroid side-scrolling games, Fusion and Zero Mission and stuff that they released. Probably Metroid Fusion would be one of my favorite handheld games that I've ever played. And it's a total Metroid game, just on a handheld. If you've never played Metroid Fusion and you like Metroid, either play it on an emulator or you can play it on a handheld. I'd prefer to play it on an emulator on the GameCube with the Game Boy Advance player. But that's just me. Totally recommend Fusion though. Alright, I thought I was only half done and I was actually coming into the home stretch, so thank you all for leaving questions. I really appreciate you coming by, and we'll just keep doing what we do. I do have some stuff to do, a pickup video. I've been waiting for some stuff in the mail as well, and then I am going to shoot some gameplay with the game gun that I picked up for the 3DO, and partners, that might be about it. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to do some gameplays, I'm going to do some pickups, and if I think of any questions off the top of my head, I'll do a community question video. Sincerely, thank you all. To those of you that left comments, to those of you that just watch passively, to those of you that don't leave comments but just come by and watch, that maybe aren't subbed, it's all viewership. Sometimes I take it for granted that maybe people are watching the videos on other medias or whatever. I take for granted the fact that, I get as many views as I do, even though to me sometimes it seems kind of crazy to think that so many people would watch this rambling fool. So anyway, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for coming by. I finally did the Q&A, and we're done with it. So sorry it took so long, and we'll see you next vid. Bye.